anything interesting goes down right at the start of this one. But Jack, what do you expect to see from level 1 with these kind of comps?
So, at least in a tournament like this, on the very first game when someone is on the line, teams usually don't go for the invades. They don't try to take too many risks, especially with the way the team comps played out, with them just kind of defaulting to overpowered champions, at least at the start, means that they're not looking to take risks. So Dragonborns has all 4 in this brush. If Leduc gets too far, they might catch her, but he does scout with the Glitter Lance. They're going for it. Might try to burn a flash.
Oh, and there is a flash burn, Leduc, but they're going to go in for this one. They're going to try and shut down Leduc. There is the exhaust put down. Can they lock her in? Yes, they can. First blood comes down for Sinchao.
Amazing chase. Broken Shard landing every single undertow on Olaf, and then really just allowing Spot next to flash and get the slow as well. What did they end up burning for that? They burned a ghost, a flash, and 2 flashes for just Leduc's flash and exhaust. We'll see if that ends up hurting them, knowing that Spot next on Xin Zhao top lane now has no summoner spells. If LoLPro can punish that or not will make a huge difference, because with that first blood, it does give them a good early lead.
Well, we can see here the standard jungle starts coming in. Maluno just hanging around by his rates. We saw earlier there's Broken Shard with his Olaf. Going to have help from Hosen and Movert to finish off this Wolf camp, and then moving down towards that Blue Extinct, going to be helping out Maluno as well. So after that craziness that was level 1, things settle into a much more standard pattern.
Looks like we'll end up seeing the Draven vs. Misfortune brawl lane, so we're going to have to keep really close eyes on that once they help out Broken Shard with that blue buff. I'm really, really excited for that bot lane to see if anything crazy happens.
Well, we can see in the top already, Spontex putting down a lot of pressure. Obviously, did get that first blood, a critical first blood as well. I mean, his level advantage we can see right now, he's up to almost level 2, and he's putting down a lot of pressure with that longsword that he's built up here on towards Mozilla.
And Xin Zhao is already an early game bully. The fact that he was able to pick up an extra 400 gold item is even more trouble for Mozilla early on Eve, because Eve doesn't really survive these long lanes very well. If he can ever get into a situation where he can isolate even that top lane, he's going to be able to kill her.
And Olaf just finishes red. You can see Maluno here on his blue right now, down in his bottom lane. We said it before, it's going to be one that cameraman needs to keep an eye on, certainly us as well, because it could go down very, very quickly in this lane, especially you know, with those roots coming out from Zyra with the Glitter Lance able to really pin someone down. And we can see Maluno headed towards his top. Broken Shard going to do the same, so we may see a 4-man attack on this top lane.
And I wonder if they're going to be able to counter Spontex's aggression. The great thing about this is Broken Shard has managed to get into that brush. If they can somehow bait Shen into an extended counter gank, they could make something happen. But with the way the lane is pushed, I feel like we might not see something unless Broken Shard can get into the second brush after he shoves out this lane and kind of have an extended gank. I don't know if the junglers are going to be that patient, though.
Well, Broken Shard has gone through again. Mozilla taking good damage, and here we go. Maluno is coming in. Mozilla going to be the one going low, but Spontex having to walk himself away from that one, and no kills coming down. Spontex going a little bit lower than I think they'd expected that all to go. Great move from Maluno.
And I think the big thing that swung that is the fact that Spontex didn't have his flash and Broken Shard didn't have his ghost. So even though they had the stronger 2v2 for the counter gank, Mozilla could just flash away, and there was no way they could follow in after that.
You can see here Shushe actually coming around the backside of Extinct, who's not exactly healthy on mana right now, but it's more about putting down pressure there as Mozilla again going very, very low in this top lane and wisely deciding, okay, Maluno, you have a bit of farm there, I'm going to have to go home away from this lane.
And getting back to that mid lane matchup, Shushe realized that all the junglers were top lane. He knows there's absolutely no threat on him, so that's why he was flanking around the side, trying to punish Extinct. The longer he can keep Ryze from getting that Tear of the Goddess and start stacking up, the better it's going to be for his team late game. So he picks Kayle to win the lane, and he's really got to make sure he not only gets farm for himself, but that he denies farm for Extinct's Ryze.
Broken Shard just went a little bit low there in that top lane against the Shen. Decided to back away towards that jungle, and the top laners are going to be coming back. But we may just see Broken Shard trying to get involved once again in this top lane. And, well, we've talked about even how really strong she can be, but if she gets shut down in this lane, Jack, how easy is it going to be for her to really play her game?
And they're going in right now. He's already used his move speed skill. I think Mozilla's dead.
It is looking like that way. It's another axe landing in there. The first one was dodged, but we can see down in the bottom as well, the duck going low. Mover is very low. Slepper going to get the kill. He may be able to double up here if he stays in for it, but there is the passive coming out of Zyra. And it was actually the minions that ended up finishing off Slepper, and that's a nice little turnaround.
So that's the brawl lane we were expecting. It seemed like Hosan was going to be too low, but he actually had 2 spinning axes at the time of that engagement, so he just crushed through. Shushay tried to roam all the way down to the bottom, but luckily Leduc was able to spin away with speed. That was a crazy trade. Let's see what ended up happening. 1 kill for each AD carry. At the end of the day, means that was even for both of them.
Well, right now, Shushay getting caught out here a little bit inside of that jungle. The duck is going to come across Glitterlands, not quite landing to get that slow down, and he will stay safe from that one. Hosan did just go back as well. He was critically low in this bottom lane, but wanted to get as much farm as he could before going back home.
We'll see now Shushay roaming back up top. Allowed Rise to get a little bit of farm there, kind of lost his lead. The big story that I think we're going to have to follow in this one is whether Mozilla can do anything top lane against the power that is Spotnex and the camp that's come out from Broken Shard. He's finally able to afford a ward and place it in that one brush down in the river, but he still has no warding in the lane, and he's still incredibly vulnerable himself.
And we can see Sinchao is going to come back into lane. Double Doran's Blade plus that longsword from earlier. That's an all-out offensive build coming out now from this Sinchao. Obviously, he's 1-0-1 right now. He's going to come into the lane. Broken Shot, actually, I think just getting spotted there by that ward, which is going to force him away. Yet they've just pinged his position. So Broken Shot not going to have the opportunity this time around. But still, that top lane is not going to be easy for Mozilla.
And this is that early game blitz that we thought Dragonborns was going to be able to come out with. They've executed it well so far, straight from the first blood, and then really just taking it through the lanes and trying to extend on the first blood that Spontex was able to pick up. In bottom lane as well, the Draven pick is working out so far. They brawled straight up with MF. They got the kill. If they're able to get a couple more, it's really going to be huge once they hit the level 5 or 6 area. I feel like once they hit level 6, they're really just going to have another all-out brawl in the bottom lane.
And we have a 1,600 gold lead currently as well, coming over for Dragonborns, starting off their competition here very, very nicely. We can see in the red side of the jungle that blue buff is going to be going over here to Shushay in the middle lane. Once he finally finishes that one off, there he goes. Has to go around the corner just to get that one, and he will go back into the lane against the Rise, who I believe also has that blue buff on him there. Actually, Shen was a little bit slower to do that one, so that blue buff probably not up for a little while. We may see an invade.
You can see the pings going down. Shushay actually rushed his Sorcerer's Shoes. You see a lot of Kales rushing for the Nashor's Tooth, but he's really going for the magic penetration. As you can see, just one Q onto Extinct in the mid lane really took a bunch of health out of Extinct, so Extinct having to chug back those crystalline flasks over and over again. But they're really looking to pressure the invade. You can see Spontex waiting for the blue buff as well, everyone roaming over. I don't see a single way that LoLPro can get this blue buff for themselves.
Shen is an absolute mile away from this one. Rise is going to come around the side, but Extinct, I think, kind of feeling the pressure there once he'd seen Shushay and Broken Shot headed that direction, knew that his blue buff was going to be going. So as I said, Maluna, he started red, went to blue, and that's a kind of window of opportunity there for Sinchao to come down from this top lane, especially since he's so dangerous. Eve can't really afford to push him out and stop him going down there.
And you don't see too many strategies nowadays that revolve around snowballing your top lane, because a lot of times what Mozilla has been doing is just trying to turtle his turret and try to farm. So you need to find other ways to create pressure. One of those ways is to just invade the other team's jungle and make sure Spontex makes the most of his time that Eve is freezing. So the blue buff steal is one of the good ways of them doing that, as he tries to get really aggressive on Mozilla up top.
And Mozilla half HP, and there we go again coming in. Spontex ultimate use there by Mozilla, and he's going to have to run straight away from that one. It's never a good sign, Jack, if you're having to use your abilities like that on the defensive.
Alton flash straight to move away. Spontex still has his flash as well on Xin Zhao. He did have to burn the Ignite, but this turret's going to fall down, and if Mozilla shows, I'd expect him to maybe dive. Here comes Shen Ult.
Shen ultimate going to come in. Can they trap Spontex into this one? Taunt will land. Spontex is going to be going very low. This is going to be a death for him, but can he get any more damage off? No, he can't, and it's the hate spike from Mozilla. That was nicely coordinated to let that Evelyn get that kill as well.
Maluno had just hit level 6. That was a very unexpected gank for Spontex. You knew he wasn't expecting the Shen to fly in there. Being able to turn around, giving Mozilla that kill is huge for their team. It's costing them a dragon because they had to burn the Shen ult up top. It's going to hurt them in overall gold, but in the greater context of the game, I think that was worth it.
Dragon going to fall here very quickly. We can see there the items that Evelyn's able to pick up from that one. You can see the gold, still 1,000 lead, especially obviously with that dragon there just coming in. Looking at the AD carries, around about 200 gold difference in favor of Draven currently, with Hosan in the middle lane, 2,700, 2,900, so following a similar pattern there as well.
And funnily enough, he got some of that gold advantage because he was the second one to get a kill between him and Slepa when they traded back, because Slepa had a bounty when they were able to kill, and then the dragon also just added to that. He hasn't really extended an item lead. I'd actually argue right now he has an item disadvantage because the Doran's Blade gives more combat effectiveness than the longsword in the bottom lane, but once they shop, he might be able to hit an item breakpoint right before MF.
Got Mozilla here coming back up towards his top lane, just going to use the terrain there to get that ward as far up into the brush as he can, but this tower is very, very low already. Spontex is going to work his way in there and actually dives afterwards straight down on towards Mozilla, who obviously got that blue buff from earlier on, but still he's lost his tower.
Really good that they were able to push that power through. That's a 3,000 gold advantage only 11 minutes in, so they're really trying to take it to LoLPro right away. This is not really what people expected. Dragonborns, while they are known as a strong team, LoLPro was kind of looked at as the favorites of the group, so for them to be down this big early is a bit of a surprise.
You can see their Bloodthirster has now been completed by Draven. BF Sword finally picked up by Misfortune, so that's that advantage that we talked about earlier on coming into the works, and we'll see if, with that in mind, that Hosan decides to start pushing his the aggressiveness that he can throw out now.
I kind of expect that if Zara can land one Grasping Roots on the enemy, Hosan's just going to fly in and try to kill him.
We've just seen there as well in the middle, 1Q coming out from Jusha, the amount of damage that it did to Extinct as they're trying to put some pressure on towards this middle turret. Maluno coming in there. They decide we probably can't fight this one. Slepa had come up from that bottom lane as well, which is all well and good to protect that tower, but that's giving Hosan more time to get that free farm.
And we'll really see if they can get a team fight to break out at some point with all the roam that Spontex is doing from top into mid lane over and over again. He's caught Eve out in the top lane a little bit right here, but really Mozilla just playing the disengage game. We can see the big Giant Spell item being completed on Spontex as well, or really just having the Giant Spell, which is different than what Diamond Prox was doing all weekend on Lee Sin when he was actually going that Locket of the Iron Solari. So a different item choice for a different position for Xin Zhao on the map. Spontex going top, whereas we saw a lot of jungle Xin Zhao over the weekend.
Down at the bottom, we did see Movet use his ultimate there after getting the root down onto Slepa. They weren't quite able to get the damage down, though, that they wanted. A little bit too close onto the tower to go full bore into that fight. And
you can see in the bottom lane that Dragonborns has the huge pressure advantage, because normally Lulu is the lane that wants to stay shoved up, but they're so afraid of Draven and Zyra together that they've been pushed to their turret the whole game, and they've already lost about half of it as they fight up top.
Yeah, Spontex here going sufficiently low there that Mozilla might have thought about having a go in. Shushe, though, coming on. We've got Rise now closing in. Let's see what Spontex can do. He's going to put the pressure on towards Mozilla. Teleport is coming in around that backside. Can Shushe finish off here? Yes, he can just about, but he may just fall for the pleasure. Going to use his ultimate to stay invulnerable, but there's a flash in the Rune Prison to lock the kill in for LoLPro.
Shushe was about half a second slow on that teleport. If he could have gotten in earlier, he could have saved Spontex with that kill ultimate. But now Broken Shard really has to be careful because there's two members. Extinct is out of mana. I am completely wrong. It is LoLPro that has to be careful of Broken Shard in the 1v2. He might try to take this blue buff.
He's hanging around, certainly not scared of this one here. Extinct actually just falling, just taking out those smaller creeps. He's still waiting there. Broken Shard is still hammering away on it. Needs to be a little bit careful. He's got no backup coming in the immediate future. So he's basically just holding them up as much as he can right now.
And it's interesting that he's still messing around up here because Mozilla, for all intents and purposes, could have been at the blue buff by now. It's a good thing he's falling back just at this moment. They needed to get out of that. In the meanwhile, all that was happening, Dragonborns continue their pressure down bottom as Hosan steals the red buff away, and they took the tower. So even though they lost the engagement up top, the global gold is still creeping up a bit higher. They're now at 3,500, pushing down on the mid turret with 3.
Yeah, Dragonborn's going to be taking this mid turret with them in this push. That will bring them to 3-0. in terms of the turret. That equates to a 21.7 to a 17.8 thousand gold lead. Nice little first 15 minutes just about for them in the kickoff to this one. We've seen more Giants belts coming down as we're pretty much expecting as the game is right now. You can see there Spontex going to be gifted over that red buff, which is just going to make him that even more dangerous.
And they're going to have double red buff, actually. One on Draven, one on Spontek. If they can get a fight around the next dragon, which should be up in a couple of minutes, they'd look to go and win that team fight because Mozilla is still not quite where he needs to be on Eve. With all the early tower gold and the early items they've been able to reach, Dragonborns is looking extremely strong right now in comparison to LoLPro.
And again, pushing out this middle lane. Move Chushe and Hosan, all three there. We've got two in the middle. Lulu and Idolin are going to come down to try and protect this one, but now that dragon should be fairly close to coming up here. So they're going to get in there, get the positioning on that one. We do have a ward in the back of the pit. Nothing to clear that out with as of yet. No pink wards.
And everyone on Dragonborns got completely spotted by all the wards that LoLPro has thrown out. If Dragonborn really wants to look to force, they're going to either need more pink wards or to pick up an Oracle's Elixir on to Mover, because right now LoLPro can just completely avoid them if they want to. Starting on the Dragon, I do not think that LoLPro wants to fight this, but they think otherwise. They might be going in.
They are going to go inside. Her ultimate is actually going to knock 3 up. There's a Draven ulti as well. Spontex goes in. Bullet time comes across. Shushe going fairly low, but he's put his ultimate down onto Spontex, and that could cause all kinds of havoc. Extinct going low. Extinct goes down. They're going to try and lock Slepper down and uses his cleanse to try and escape. But how do you escape from a red buff? Xin Xiao, you probably don't. As Slepper going low, Slepper goes down. Double kill coming out for Xin Xiao, and now Shushi looking to finish the deal here and take out Lulu.
Looks like a 4-for-1 plus the dragon for Team Dragonborns. Obliteration of LoLPro in that fight. They were so much farther ahead. We talked about the double red buff, the gold advantage, the item thresholds, the experience, the fact that that was a forced fight by LoLPro and they didn't even get them with the dragon. That was a terrible fight to take on. Dragonborns completely capitalized on it, and now they have a huge lead in the game.
A massive, massive lead. 27 to less than 20,000 gold right now. And this is the start they were looking for. It's 4 turrets to 0 as well. Overall looking brilliant. Now you can see the overall gold. And in this top lane, 6,300 to 4,000, let's call it, with Xin Xiao versus Evelyn. The middle lane, 5,700 to 4,500. The AD carries, there's a 1,300 difference there in favor of Draven. So overall, this game going certainly as planned for Dragonborns.
And their gold lead pretty much doubled in that last engagement. So LoLPro really, really has to take care with what they do next. Some interesting builds that are coming out a bit. Shushe looks like he's going towards a death cap after Sheen not doing the Nashor's 2 thing at all. And actually, Hosan getting caught out in the bottom lane, being sloppy.
Really, really caught out. But here comes the teleport and cancel. I think wisely enough there from that one, not coming in there. That was, of course, Shushe who started that one off. But that can always happen. I mean, Draven, they camped in and around him. They were just ready for him to make that move one step too far. And that's exactly how it went down. So those are the kind of things that, you know, they might look like one little thing, but in the grand scheme of things, could actually come back to bite them.
And that's the type of things that LoLPro is going to have to do. You don't usually see the team that is way back on gold have a larger amount of wards on the map. But that's what we see right now. LoLPro had 6 across both rivers, and Dragonborns just had the 1. That's pretty much why they were able to pick up that kill on Draven. So at the Dragon fight, they had full vision of Dragonborns. They shouldn't have fought that one because they know they're weaker 5v5. But if you're going to have this many wards up, you have to use it to get picks and come back in the game by catching Dragonborns off guard.
Well, Spontex here is going to be forcing his top line down. We'll see how far he actually decides to go from that one. As you said, they've got no vision of the enemy top side of the jungle, no vision of the bottom side of the jungle there. They've got this one single ward in that middle lane, which is giving them the vision when the minions don't quite get through. But that's it on the map right now. There's 2 wards on the map, and they need, with that advantage that they've got, to have the vision as well.
And they are way ahead. I cannot stress that enough. 7,000 gold at 19 minutes means that they have the freedom to go wherever they want. But they really have to start getting control of the map, because if they don't clear out the wards from LoLPro and ward themselves, they won't get any more gifted fights where LoLPro just 5-man runs into them at Dragon. That's not going to happen again for them, so they have to create their own opportunity here, and that starts with oracles and ward placement.
Oh, they're right now trying to get this red buff once again. Of course, the last one did go over to Hosan. Slepper did try and stop him, but nothing that they could really do with that one. There's a pink ward finally down in this bottom side of the jungle, so that gives them a commanding vision on that side, and with that, they're looking to have this bottom inner turret away.
This looks like a good move. They see that Maluno is up in the top lane on Shen trying to shove up, so they're going to have to either take this turret down fast or dive it, because if they wait too long, they're really just trading gold for gold, and that would be good for LoLPro. So they're going to have to get in on this fast. I think they'd want to flank around the back or just straight up dive in. They got to make quick work of this, because that split push is not taking any breaks.
Well, here we go then. Hosan going to be tied down there, but not really enough damage coming out into him. Maluno is finally going to ulti in. There's a Zyra ultimate going down. Spontex is right in the middle of them. Shushe going fairly low. Uses the ultimate while not really in the fight. Slepper will be forced to use Cleanse to get away, but Extinct will fall here to Broken Shard, who's not finished. Lands the axe at max range. Slepper goes down to Spontex, and that will be a 3-for-1. Yes, Dragonborns are pretty low, but they're not dead, and that's the key here, because they're going to have this tower.
The best thing about that fight is they focused down Mozilla so quickly that Maluno didn't get to come in on Shen, so they essentially created an instantaneous 3v5 when they picked up that first kill, which allowed them to tower dive with no repercussions and take the turret.
Great play coming out of Dragonborns, and well, really nice stuff. If you think about the games that they've got to play here today, as I said earlier, for a bit scared of using the word cutthroat too much, but if you look at this group situation that they've got going on, you've got to have a good start, because it's not your traditional round robin where, okay, you lose one game and then you can bounce right back. It becomes a lot more deadly in terms of your progression in the tournament to lose. So now Dragonborns doing everything right.
LoLPro, if they lose this one game, you have to win 2 in a row after that.
Yeah.
It's not one of those, well, maybe I can sneak through with the 1-2 like Gambit Gaming did over at IEM Katowice and then just roll through. But it's all on the line right from the get-go, and Dragonborns realizes this. They just pink ward cleared out that vision, so LoLPro knows that Dragonborns is doing this Baron. They're really not taking much damage out of it early. Broken Shard is low to start this fight as well. Dragonborns looking to peel. I don't think they're realistically trying to do this Baron with how low Broken Shard is. They're looking for a fight, if anything.
Shen coming in around this side. Will they be able to hold him down? Here we go. Shen does get the taunt off. Movement gonna get very, very low. In fact, will go down there to Maluno. Use ultimate use out of Spontex, and Broken Shard getting very, very low. Gets the ultimate off Kayle. They'll try and turn this one around, but Broken Shard will eventually die. It was brought back though by Kayle, who will shut down Shen from that one, and that'll leave us with a 2-for-1 in favor of LoLPro.
LoLPro realized that Broken Shard was low and that Dragonborn split to opposite sides of the Baron buff when they went for the retreat. So Extinct just ran in as fast as he could. Maluno followed as well with the Flash Taunt initiate, and they picked up an easy 2-for-1 because they knew Dragonborns was out of sorts.
So Dragon is now up. Dragonborns headed down to do that. They do have Cinch out, Kayle, and now Draven there as well. The Duck just waiting on the backside with Lulu. He's got Misfortune just a little bit behind him, but not sure that there's much they can do. Yeah, just tries for the Glitter Lance there at the end, but not quite. Well, it's not the easiest spell to be killing a dragon with, to steal a dragon with in that position.
And the item builds now that the goal beat is 8,000. Hopefully Dragonborns regroups a little bit. That Baron play was probably a bit of a scare. They might be a little bit cautious here. Warmog's completed on Spontex. He's actually on the way to another Giant's Belt item in a Sunfire Cape. He's very strong right now. Broken Shard just really stacking up the Kindle Gem items. Doesn't have a Warmogs for himself. Isn't quite as strong as the Olafs we're used to seeing because he's come out of the jungle instead of in top lane. So we'll see if he realizes that in his play. The Death Cap is completed onto Shushe, which is really, really huge for him. It's not the Nostrous Tooth build. It's all about the spike that he's going to throw out at the start with that Q and with the follow-up damage. And we're just going to keep going down here and talking about how far ahead Dragonborns is from the counterparts, because you look at Hosan with the Bloodthirster, Last Whisper, and then the Alacrity Boots with the Brutalizer. That's just way more than Slepper has, because he's just got kind of a Health Crystal and a Doran's Blade on top of the Brutalizer. He's a full... It's only 1,200 gold ahead, but the items look a lot more than that.
And that will surely show if they end up fighting off 5 versus 5. They do actually have Maluno in that bottom lane. The problem that Dragonborns have here is that Shushi's away. He does, however, though, have teleport, and as we can see there, he has just teleported in on top of that pink wall. The question is, can they hold someone down? Leduc is going to be an obvious target here, but they decide to switch around onto Mozilla. Absolutely blown to pieces there. Spontex will take the ultimate from Kale gladly and stay alive. Shushi going low, but Extinct will get finished off. There's a double kill coming out for Draven, and also Spontex picking one up there right at the end. He's now on a rampage at 5-8.
And they did it again. Mozilla had Shen coming in on his back, but they managed to kill Eve fast enough so that Malunu could not get in on that fight. Now, though, they're going to have a full health Shen trying to stop them from this Baron, and they're low from the fight, so even though they got a 3-0, they might not be able to take the Baron. Just another small advantage gained by Dragonborns.
May just be about those small advantages building up in the end, but approaching a 10,000 gold lead right now. That may be pegged back a little bit, as we are seeing LoLPro going for what is actually their first turret of the game at 25 minutes in. Obviously they are 5 turrets, or they've lost 5 turrets up till this point to Dragonborns. You can see there the overall gold, and it's starting to really rack up there, Jack.
It's a good thing that they were able to get that first turret, though, and it's a great thing that they were able to stop the Baron. Yes, they lost the fight, but hopefully they realize at this point that having Malunu split pushing isn't the best way for them to create fights, because if he can't reliably enter a fight, he is not allowed to be there. And the spike damage is continuing to grow for Dragonborns. Shushe built a Lichbane, which means even more so they're going to be able to spike out that first target when Shen tries to ride in on the back of Eve. If Dragonborns keeps forcing Barons like this, and LoLPro continues to be able to fight them off, if they could somehow get a good 5v5 with Dragonborns trapped against Baron, they might have a chance, because that last fight, despite being 3-0, was kind of close considering Maluno never made it in.
And is that the real problem for them here, that no one on that team is really tanky enough to survive when they see that Shen ultimate coming in onto him? Is it going to have to be a case of Eve staying out of the fight until Shen comes down?
Eve in herself is a flanker. She's the one who should come around and kind of follow up with the initiation. She should enter from the back and just kind of be a stealthy shadow assassin. She isn't the brunt force run in. That's Shen's job, in all honesty. So if they could actually initiate with Maluno instead of with Evelyn, they might have a chance. But this is really bad for them, because this time they have Extinct in the bottom lane. Okay, it's not as bad as I thought. He has teleport up. Whoops.
Well, they may not have the chance to get in here. The problem that they've got is the ward situation around Baron, because look at that. 1, 2, 3 pink wards. In fact, that'll be 4 on the 5. Come on, cameraman. Where's number 6? Somewhere around there, maybe.
And there's
they've got plenty of Maluno now. Going to be absolutely destroyed. And that, as you said, is their brute force in terms of the health as Dragonborns turn around. Leduc going to go down. Double kill coming out for Olaf. And they're just going to try and mop this one up. He was shut down there by Slepper, but Slepper will fall. Ooh, not before picking up a double kill of his own, and now Shushi's chasing down Evelyn. Can't quite finish off the damage, but that again was a 3-2.
And I just went on the large rant about how...
What?
Whoa!
Why did he do that?
I feel like that was a misclick. There's no way he should have put his Zanya's Hourglass in that situation. But that was almost... Even though Malunu got caught off a little bit, he died way too fast on Shen. There is absolutely no possible front line that LoLPro has right now, and it means Dragonborns hits whatever's closest, see hero, kill hero, and they're just rolling through them right now. Looks like they might get this inhibitor. Actually, they're going to have to back away because Maluno's up.
Wow, great dodge there of the taunt. We'll see what happens from this one as Spontex dives in on towards Extinct. Maluno going very, very low, just about surviving there. You see the damage that Draven can put down. He's picked himself up a giant spell as well. Obviously, the Brutalizer, Last Whisper, and Bloodthirsty he had earlier on. Kale also got that Lichbane in, and Dragonborns are going back. They're going to have another good spike of items.
1,300 gold on Shushi. He picks up actually a stack of pink wards as well as a blasting one. So team effort here trying to get the vision around the Baron. They go with the Sightstone on Movert, and then another 4 pink wards kind of to replace the ones they've just kept doing. They're going to keep hammering this again and again. They're pink warding up around Baron. They're forcing LoLPro to check. And until they either get the Baron or win another ace team fight to push through, this is their move for the rest of the game. That is Dragonborns.
And the fact that they've got that advantage, you know, LoLPro just can't afford the pink wards that they've got right now. I mean, they're throwing down the wards and they're getting taken straight out of there. You can see that Movet is just having a whale of a time taking them down again. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, who knows how many pink wards hanging around there. And they're just open for the taking here.
And they've decided to go with the pink ward mass. In all honesty, they could have just gotten an Oracles on a Mover and used his Sightstone to go around. But this does give them the security, and it also allows them to know everywhere Eve is moving around the area, because she walks through normal wards, but if there's pink wards, there's no way Eve will ever be able to sneak up or flank around them, which is really what Evelynn lives to do. It's even more security for them to poke around Baron with the massive pink wards.
Well, maybe that's why Dragonborns said, you know what, let's not ban Evelynn, let's give them that, and if we get that advantage, we know how we're going to play it. I mean, Shushe is a fantastic Evelynn player. If anyone knows how that Evelynn's going to be working, then it certainly could be him. Let's see how they go now from this one. But if you look just generally at the levels across everyone, it's still fairly even on that front. I mean, there's only that one level difference between the top lane, the jungle are even on level, but it's the items here that are causing problems.
And they're trying to catch out Maluna. They've actually popped Ghost onto Broken Shard. Ryze teleporting in, so I guess they trade Summoner Spells against. Mozilla trying to come in. This is a scattered fight.
Scout fight coming down, but we've got Spontax coming around the backside. Mozilla in all kinds of trouble as he gets knocked up there. Broken Shards in. Maluno is up against 2. In comes Shushi. Mover is there as well. He taunts through the wall. They managed to shut down Hosan, but how long are they going to be able to escape this one? Axe comes flying in, misses Extinct. He's still running at full speed for now. Another Axe dodge by him, but where is he realistically going to escape this fight? Is not, as Shushi will give himself that speed boost, and the single attack takes him down. Maluno going to pop back to base.
Again and again, they're just crashing into each other around the Baron. Dragonborns is winning each fight fairly convincingly, but not taking anything huge off of it. They've just gotten another turret. They still haven't taken down the Baron. With all the gold they're putting into pink wards, though, I don't know how much they're realistically gaining off of all of these. Eventually, you'd think that Team LoLPro is going to crack, but they get a pick on a move air, and they're trying to turn this one around.
Gets the ultimate down there from Kale, and Dragonborn's going to have to back right away from this one. We can see that Shirelli has actually been popped by Olaf to get them to safety, and I think Mover had his eye off a little bit off the ball there. He probably shouldn't have been caught out as he was, but they're still hanging around, and LoLPro are forcing them back towards this Baron area. We can see more wards coming down, but again, they're not pink wards. They're not going to be able to get rid of the warding situation that Dragonborns already have in place.
I just wonder when this is going to break for either team, because Dragonborns has been having the huge lead for quite a while now, and they keep doing the same thing over and over again. I think that's the 4th or 5th Baron fight we've seen where they win, don't take the Baron, go back to base, shop, buy more pink wards, do it again. LoLPro, exactly the same story. Fly in, bunch of people die, stop them from Baroning. They're spending all their winning fight gold on pink wards to set up. So the actual lead isn't extending that much by Dragonborns. They're going to have to win a fight decisively if they want to be able to end this game. I'd still say they have a very huge advantage, but it's taking them a while and a ton of repeated actions to get this done. Again, they're on Baron. There's no vision from LoLPro. Shushe is not there this time, but he does have his teleport up. Let's see if they can get it here.
And the ironic thing is, after all those pink wards, with an Oracle on as well, there is a ward at the back of that Baron pit, which is going to give LoLPro vision. Dragonborn's going to come away here. Mozilla will stay alive long enough to have Shen come in, but he's going to have to use that. Sonya's right in the middle. Hosan going loud. Mozilla won't get away from that one. The focus turns on towards Extinct. He goes down with a double kill for Spontax, who's not finished. And look at this. Hosan manages to get away from Shen, then turn around and kill him. Leduc is now the last man left alive. Is he going to be able to escape? Surely not from this one, with Olaf and Xin Xiao battering away on him. That's an ace for Dragonborns.
Took 33 minutes, and that's the 27th kill they were able to get down onto LoLPro, but they finally got their ace. It looks like that was the breaking of LoLPro's back there. They're going to get this inhibitor. Really crazy micro in that fight from Hosan, keeping it in the backside. The teleport in from Shushe really did wonders when he came in the backside. It's a much different Kale build than we've seen in the past. Straight AP really with a Lichbane trying to spike them down. They get the inhibitor. They still haven't pulled off the Baron. In all honesty, I think we know where they're going once they come back from base. They're going to Baron again.
Yeah, I mean, he's still there. Surprisingly enough, I'd say. 33 minutes in, it feels like we've had 5 or 6 fights around this Baron already. But it's still that gives LoLPro a chance to get back up towards Baron and try to do something there. They've got at least that opportunity that they managed to split Dragonborns off, that they managed to catch one out with a nice taunt in there, with a flash initiation from one of these players, which, as I say, that no one's actually got a flash available, so that's going to take a little bit more time for that one. But again, the pink ward's starting to go down in position. LoLPro were kind of just bunched up in middle there, I think, wondering exactly how they're going to play this one now.
And we haven't really paid any attention to LoLPro's items because they've generally just not had them for most of the game, and it's been Dragonborns who's been way far ahead. But the Muramana being completed onto Extinct's Rise is pretty big. If he can get onto the right squishy target at the start of the fight, he could make some things happen. Maluno does have the Warmogs and the Sunfire Cape both completed together. That's kind of the combo of items that Shen seems to need before he can become useful. Mozilla still isn't there, though. 3 and 8 on Evelynn. Really just a Zani's Hourglass that at one time cost him his life. And they are definitely not in position to stop this Baron at this point. They don't have any forward wards. They know that they lost the last fight horrendously. This could be the Dragonborns Baron finally being conceded on, I think, the 6th try.
Yeah, Extinct was pushing that bottom lane, did have his teleport, but, well, if you've got no vision, you're not going to know exactly that it's been done, although they would definitely have had a hunch. Couldn't do anything about it, and now Dragonborn's going to push this top wave through. They've got a red buff there on Hosan, a blue buff actually in on one of them there as well. I just spotted it, maybe that just ran out. Oh no, it's on Kayle. And they are pushing now through towards this inner turret, this inhibitor turret on this bottom lane. There's more pink wards put down. Dragonborn's taking away every little last bit of vision that they can from this. And you can see there, Slepper down to almost half HP instantly once Suchet gets in range of him.
Just 1 Q, 1 auto attack. And the cool thing is Kayle's 10% damage amp on her Q applies on the Lich Brain proc too, so it's an even bigger spike than you'd expect to begin with. They're just going to try to siege down this turret, it looks like, taking a couple chunks of it just off the 1 Kayle hit. It's going down fast. It looks like LoLPro is going to have to fight. They can't just give up all their inhibitors, otherwise they're giving up the game.
Broken Shard has taken a good chunk of damage from that one, but with the regen in there alone, I mean, from that Baron buff, it's going to be pretty ridiculously fast that they're able to just turn back around and get back in.
Shushei's also healing for about 400 right now. You don't think of Kayle as a sustained monster, but with the blue buff and with 460 AP, that is a pretty healthy heal that they're giving out. They're in for round 2 of this turret siege. They're going for it this time, it looks.
We are going to see them going in. Maluno will taunt in there, and Mozilla getting caught out as well. The bullet time wasn't brilliant. Mozilla will fall. That's 3 of them down. Slepper, can he escape? The axe will land from Broken Shard. He's exploded on the way, but there is a kill coming back around. Extinct now has to finish this one off. Can he take down Hosan? Not quite. Hosan turns that one right on its head, and there are the super minions.
That is one manly Draven. Hosan, the entire game, I feel like half of the fights were him at 100 health just throwing axes from the very start when he finished off Misfortune in that bottom lane. The whole team, Dragonborns, took the early game into the late. Awesome job.
Great job from Dragonborns, taking the first game here in the Blitzcranck group, and they will go, well, into the next round feeling very, very confident. There you can see the crowd definitely behind them in this one, being, having 2 home favorite players, I guess we can say, with Hosan in there, along with Suchet, who's, I think, the #1 player in Poland in terms of his fan base. But a really convincing performance. I think they could have done it a little bit earlier on than they actually did in the end, but, well, as they say, better safe than sorry.
And the crazy thing is that game felt long, but it wasn't that long in actuality. 37 minutes is a slightly longer than normal win, but it's by no means a long game. It's just they had the lead from such an early point that they just continued to win fight after fight after fight after fight. They didn't completely turn it around, but at no point did it look like it was slipping away.
Well, a fantastic performance from them again. Let's see